Welcome to Engineered Muscle Podcast number 16, guys. Today, Madison and I will be talking about something that we get some DMs on, but at the same time, we got a lot more in-person.
All the time.
All the time. And the topic is, how do skinny guys gain muscle? How do skinny guys look big? How do skinny guys look more manly? All kinds of shit. And that topic is actually really fascinating because it's something that hits home for a lot of guys listening to this. A lot of you don't just want muscle for the sake of having more muscle tissue on your frame. You want muscle to look big. You want muscle to be, to just appear big when you're standing next to your girlfriend or when you're standing next to other people. Because
be capable and be able to defend yourself, defend others, and just be ready for whatever life throws you.
Because let's be honest, I think it was Jesus or some really famous person who once said, size matters. So, Madison, were you ever skinny or have you always been jacked?
No, I haven't. When I was growing up, in fact, I was actually when I was really young, I was pretty skinny. And then I got overweight when I was a teenager. And then when I first got into fitness, I went all the way down. I think the highest I got was around like 220. I was like a fat 220 with no muscle. And then I got into fitness and I dropped all the way down to like 165. And I was skinny. I had no muscle whatsoever. And pretty much since then, I've been, building up. And I mean, I've been bulking and cutting since then because, I go up and down. But trying to gain muscle ever since then. At the end of my bulk that I just finished, I was 240 about a month and a half ago, and been able to put on a lot of muscle over these last about 10 years now. And
but I wanted you to say, I thought you put all that in 90 days. No.
No, not all in 90 days. I put on about 30 during my last bulk. Not all muscle, but about 30, but not all of that, and certainly not all of it in the last 90 days. It is something that takes time, and I've helped a lot of guys over the years with my coaching. I worked with a lot of guys who just want to get bigger. And one of my specialties is getting guys bigger and putting on muscle. And it's important to notice that, or not to notice, but it's important to take into account that building muscle is a slow process. And while you can lose fat relatively fast with a really extreme diet and program, which isn't necessarily the best way to go, but it can be done quickly. Muscle, you can't rush. And there's nothing that's going to make it go any faster than it can. All you can do is optimize the process so that it goes as fast as you can, but then just sticking with it over time.
I'll just add one small thing. So Madison and I did podcast number 2 was all about muscle tension and how the muscle actually grows. That's a lot of technical information that you guys will love, especially those of you that are finding this topic interesting. Go back to podcast number 2. We talk about that in detail. So
that's a must watch. If you have not watched episode 2, go and watch that. We go over all the pathways and all the different stimuluses and that muscle grows through, because there's more than just one. It's more than just lifting heavier. So there's more than one ways, and if you're not taking advantage of all those pathways, you're leaving a lot of gains on the table. And that's and using the knowledge of those pathways is what's really helped myself and my clients really, really progress and put on a lot more muscle in a much more effective manner. Right now, when I go into the gym, the way that my training is structured, I get way more. I can see the difference, like day to day, week to week. Whereas I get like a month's worth a month of my beginning, back in the beginning, what would have taken me a month, now it takes me a week, if that. Because I'm so much more effective in what I do. I'm better able to stimulate the muscle. I'm better able to recover because my nutrition's better. And both of those for gaining muscle go hand in hand. It's important to know that when you're gaining muscle, so if you're a beginner, you really don't need to do anything too fancy. You're pretty much going to grow more or less whatever you do. And what really differentiates a beginner from an intermediate is an intermediate is going to start to plateau. And in order to progress more as an intermediate, you start having to be a little more thoughtful about what you're doing. And you're starting to be a little random no longer works. You have to be at least a little bit more thoughtful. And as you start getting more and more advanced, when you're advanced, you have to do a lot of thinking. And it takes a lot more to continue to make progress.
No, I like it. So skinny guys trying to gain muscle. A lot of you are in that beginner category. Most of you are you're probably pretty athletic. You probably ran track and cross country in high school. And
I think there's a lot of intermediates too who just are, they got those newbie gains and now they're starting to hit that first or second plateau.
Exactly. And I with my clients, in an ideal situation, I do not like to start my clients off with a cut. So if I get a complete beginner and they want 6-pack abs, I would have them restructure their goals. And a lot of the time, in all honesty, most of you want abs so bad that you don't listen to me. So then we just go straight to cutting. But then, in my opinion, and Madison, correct me if I'm wrong, but in my opinion, if you take a beginner and send them straight to a cutting phase, yeah, the beginner gains will come, but the beginner gains can be so much more optimized if you're feeding them more. If you're putting them, if you're starting them off with a higher caloric intake and a higher protein diet and getting them to lift weights, I feel like they'll gain more size. Versus if we take that beginner period and put them and just that's a disadvantage to be in a caloric deficit when you're at the optimal phase of your training age.
Yeah, I agree. I think it depends a little bit on exactly their starting point, like how overweight they are and what they've got. But if you're a beginner, you're at the point where you're still going to be able to recomp with not a lot of effort. So as long as you're getting adequate nutrition, and you're getting good nutrition and adequate protein, and you don't necessarily have to be in a really big surplus or much of a surplus. As long as if you're in a very small deficit, it'll work too. But anywhere when you're pretty close to your BMR, you'll recomp. You'll gain muscle and lose fat at the same time when you're a beginner and also in an early intermediate. So you might as well grow, right? You might as well put that muscle on, because if your goal is fat loss, it's only going to help you more later on because your metabolism is going to be higher. You're only going to be stronger. You're only going to have more muscle. And what's important to always think about. So when I'm cutting, when I'm bulking, right, I'm putting on muscle. When I'm cutting, I'm trying to put on muscle. I'm always trying to put on muscle, because building muscle is a slow process. It's like trying to make a mountain on a wall and you just keep painting it with a paintbrush and paint. It's just applying this little layer at a time, right? And the layers just slowly stack up. And it just takes a lot of repetitions, right? A lot of painting over. Every time you go to the gym, that's essentially what's happening. You're just building just a little bit more. You're putting on another gram of muscle or whatever, right? So you slowly you're building.
That's a really good way to say it, gram of muscle.
Right. You're putting on a gram of muscle at a time or whatever. And
if you train with the pros, you probably, for me, you'll probably gain 5 grams.
Right. But the point is let's say every session, right? So in a week, when you hit your chest, let's say you hit your chest twice, you put on a gram and you put on a gram. You go up 2 grams or whatever that measurement is, right? But it takes that time to keep progressing. And as long as you have and putting down those layers, and as long as you have adequate nutrition to recover and replace that tissue and rebuild that tissue, then you will get there. Now, how fast you get there, that's where the stuff we were talking about, in episode 2, really kind of goes into effect. Because then if you think about, if we want to do grams or coins or points. So every time you go to a workout, if you're a noob who doesn't know what you're doing, you're going to get 2 points every time you go to the gym. Every time I go to the gym, I get 20 points. Right? So you and I can go the same amount of time for the same length of period. I'm going to be way ahead of you because I get so much more out of it. And that's what I teach my clients, is how to get more out. So they're starting to earn 5 points, 12 points, 15 points with each time versus 2 points, 3 points. So you're getting more out of the same thing. So that'll increase the rate. But there's a relatively ultimate limit of just how fast the process can happen.
I agree. And I think with a lot of, especially beginners, right? So skinny guys trying to gain muscle. But those guys, The number of times, I'll probably be a millionaire if I had like a dime for every time a skinny guy told me he was already eating a lot. You're not. You're not eating enough. Like most of you, I like, dude, this happens often where someone hires me and I have them track their calories for a week or intake for a week, and they're eating poverty macros. They're eating like freaking 12, 13, 1400 calories. And I'm like, how does a grown ass man, an adult over the age of 21, how is he supposed to gain muscle on that? Like, it's just like you gotta be eating in a surplus. So first of all, and I'm not even telling you to count calories. If you're a skinny beginner, I mean, yeah,
Eat.
huh?
If you're a skinny beginner, eat.
You eat like a madman. Like, and the risk there is some of you will put on more fat, and if you're not training good enough. But here's the thing: introducing one protein shake with with some good stuff in it, just like adding that to your routine and giving yourself 500 more calories, 600 more calories with like 50 more grams of protein, that will start to pile up. And I want you to start thinking of that. When Madison and I dive deep into the science and we talk about like the big concepts, that shit is very helpful, but it's useless if you guys don't know the practical side of it. Like, what all we're saying here is that, yeah, you need to eat more. And when we say you need to eat more, we're not saying that, hey, like, start eating more pizza or start eating shitty products. Yeah, go have a cheat meal because, why not? Because you're living life. But at the same time, don't do that every fucking night. I want this to be a lifestyle for you. So that lifestyle is like one of the biggest recommendations I make for my clients when they're trying to bulk up is add a protein shake in there. Like literally just one protein shake, put some strawberries in there, put some like berries, put just dense like almonds, put like just good stuff in there, pack it up, grind it, and just drink it. Like just drink it post-workout. Drink, like add more and more of that. And then you can start like see how easy it sounds when I say just all you got to do is drink another protein shake with some almonds, berries, and strawberries every day. Like once you start thinking that way, because this lifestyle is not as hard, but you got to know what you're doing, because the risk is when I first bulked, I gained a lot of fat. And Madison, you know what's funny? I'll be completely transparent because engineered muscle is our family right here. So I had a real good bulk. So for the first time was this phase right now that I'm going through. So I started bulking right after my show in August of 2017. So it's been about 18 months for this bulk. And bro, at the time of around like 9 months, past like 9 months, I started getting soft. I started looking soft. I could just tell. I was like, my gym workouts, like my energy wasn't there. I moved across country, not access to a gym for a month. Like I was just all over the place. So, but the weight didn't really change. I just stayed at 175. And before this bulk, I've never been over 160. I've never been, even when I was like really chubby in high school and college, I was like 159. Like I was never over 160, and now I'm sitting at 172 today. But bro, I haven't really changed any weight in the last like 5 months. My body composition though has really changed. So even today, my dad comes and picks me up from the airport, and he's like, yeah. He called me skinny, but that's not what he meant. What he really meant was like, yeah, either you've been working really hard or you look not as fat. And I smiled because I'm the same exact body weight since last he saw me. And that goes on to prove the point that body composition matters. The macros matter. And if you're too much on one side and not enough on the other side, you will start to see, if you start looking soft, you'll start looking flat. Like all those things are very real thing, guys. Very real.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm gonna spin back to that because that's like the same thing I have when for me when I bulk. Because people will be, because what I get often too is I'll get a lot of hard gainers and people that they're like, no matter how much I eat, I can't gain size, and they're just always skinny. And then there's people kind of like me where I first off I can eat a lot, but when I go to bulk, I'll gain weight, but it's really easy for me to start spilling over and starting to get fat and starting to push too much. So there's a really fine line that I have to walk. But if you're on the other side, or where you're a hard gainer, and it's just really hard for you to gain any weight, you don't have to worry as much. Those people pretty much almost everything you eat is going to go to the muscle. But as soon as you see, but before whoever you are, as soon as you start seeing is that needle start to move a little bit in the too soft direction, you just have to pull it back a little. Because because Mo, for you, now that you're a higher weight and you did that for a time, after you've gone through a bulk, it's also, before you just jump into a cut, it's important to stay at that weight for a little while. And what we kind of refer to as actualizing the gains. And basically lets your body get used to that weight, get used to that new tissue. And so it actually becomes like real and permanent versus just being like easy come, easy go. Because if it just comes up, it might just come right back down. But if it sits there for a while, your body goes, okay, this is who I am now. This is the size that I am now. This is the weight that I am now. And it gets used to that set point versus being like, no, I got to get back to where I was. Got to get back to where I was. So that's really important when you're bulking too, is to take a little break after you reach your goal before you start getting too fat, right? And just kind of recomp at that weight. Don't cut yet, because you're just going to sacrifice a lot of your hard work that you worked over for the last several months. And then I also want to say, because another thing I get a lot is for the diet for guys, a lot of people tell, like when I ask them what they're eating, I can't gain weight. They're like, I eat chicken breast and broccoli. And it's like, yeah, you're not going to be gaining any weight on chicken breast and broccoli. This isn't a bodybuilding pre-contest diet. So one of the things I recommend for a lot of those people, and if that's you who's eating chicken breast and broccoli, switch your meat sources to some fattier meat sources. Switch that chicken breast to chicken thigh. Start eating some red meat, some steak. Get some more of those healthy fats in there. Get some more fat in your diet. Get some more just quality in your diet. Red meat over chicken when you can choose it. Red meat's just more nutrient dense and just has more fat, has more creatine, and make you feel fuller, make you feel stronger. So get away from the tilapia and the chicken breast and just that stuff, and start pushing more on the steak, rice, potatoes. The more that you can eat, the better. And you can start small too.
If you're a skinny guy trying to gain, trying to look big, should you go vegan?
No.
I mean, I get it. I get the ethical reasons. I get all that, but yeah, my dude, if you're listening, this is some manly advice to you. If you're really trying to gain size and if you're serious about it, yeah.
I would highly not recommend not going vegan for several reasons. Besides like castrating yourself, the lack of cholesterol and saturated fat, your endocrine system is just going to crash from not having enough testosterone, and we need testosterone to grow, guys. Right? That's why we're bigger than women. That's why the guys take performance enhancing drugs. That's why they take testosterone and testosterone derivatives, is because it makes us bigger. So don't shut down your own by not eating adequate fats, saturated fats and cholesterol. Also, the protein that you get in a vegan diet and a plant-based diet is inferior to what you get in an animal-based diet or a mixed diet. Because, first off, the amino acid quality isn't as good, but there's also, you don't have vegan sources are not complete protein sources, which means they don't have all 8 essential amino acids. In order to build muscle, in order to synthesize anything that our body needs, we have 8 building blocks and sometimes a couple others. Your body takes those and puts those together. If it runs out of any one of those things, everything stops. You need to have enough. If anybody's ever taken chemistry, you know that you have a limiting reagent, right? The limiting reagent, when that runs out, the reaction stops. So for a vegan diet, for the proteins you get, you will have inadequate levels of a couple of those, which means you have limiting reagents. You're not going to continue protein synthesis. When you're trying to grow, our goal is to turn that on and keep it going. So we're building as much as we can, because again, muscle building is slow. So we want that going as much as possible to optimize. Because if you're only building for a little bit, it's going to be getting that much less out of it. So I highly recommend you guys, if you're trying to get big, please don't be vegan.
We'll turn this into our podcast Instagram video, but continue. You were saying
another thing you can do is once you kind of like start switching out your foods, you can start trying to add in additional meals and just adding more feeding opportunities, making sure you're eating regularly. It's also, when you're trying to build muscle, it's more optimal to have protein throughout the day, because your body is really good at storing sugar. It's really good at storing fat. It's not great at storing protein. And you want there to be enough aminos, like I was just talking about why you don't want to be vegan. You want enough of those amino acids available to start and then continue protein synthesis so that it's able to continue as much as the day as you can. And while bulking, that is really, really critical and will really, really help your muscle grow and be able to actually recover and put on muscle. So that's also another important point. But just as far as upping your calories, just start adding meals. And when you can no longer fit any more meals in your day, you're like, I can't eat more than 6 times. And you got to start making those meals bigger. And
dude, 6 meals is a serious fucking dedication.
It is. Some guys 12. I know of certain athletes and certain people that would do 12 meals a day, and some of them would be shakes, but they'd consume something 12 times a day, which is ridiculous. It's really, 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 really hard to do that, and I really don't recommend that number. But 6 is a pretty good number, and is attainable. It's not easy, but it's attainable for most people if you structure your day that way.
But yeah, like Michael Phelps was, I think, at 10,000 calories during like his swimming career, like at the peak of it, 10,000 calories, and he would swim for like many hours a day. So he was getting, but it's just, yeah, like I remember when my coach put me on 6 meals, dude, like even with my meal prepping habits and all of it, like I was running out of meals like nothing. And it actually took time out of my day to like dedicate to that shit. And for those of you who don't know, like I have a very traveling job. Like I travel all over the place and I love it. It's management consulting. But at the end of the day, like I also have a fitness coaching business. And obviously for those of you entrepreneurs, I'm in that phase where the goal is to leave the job and, go full time on business. But what's fascinating is that like bodybuilding and weight training and gaining size, all of it for me is, I don't want to say it gets put in the back burner, but it has to be convenient for it to work for my lifestyle, because my weight training, my nutrition, all of that stops when my income producing activities stop. So if I don't focus on the income, and if I don't focus on my business, if I don't focus on my work and give all my focus to bodybuilding, I will be homeless. I live in LA, pretty expensive place. I'll be homeless in a week, right? So for me, that was the hardest part. And I think a lot of people that I personally attract are people like that who value convenience a lot. And it has taken me a year and a half of coaching to really figure that out, how to design programs that actually, like, every second counts, everything better count. Because if you're just doing shit, like junk volume is a real thing. Like you can be at the gym for 2 fucking hours and then just do dumb shit and not get many results. That's junk volume, as Mike Israel calls it. And then with diet, the same thing. Like you can be eating 6 meals a day at the same time. Like the other day, one of my clients messaged me and he's like, bro, what's up with this like 10,000 calorie challenge? Everybody on YouTube is doing it. And he's like, do you recommend doing that in a cut? And I thought about it. I sat on it for like a few hours and then I messaged him back. I was like, bro, here's the thing. Those 10,000 calorie challenges are popular on Instagram, on YouTube. But everyone who's doing it, almost everyone who's doing it, has at least 5 to 10 years of training experience and they have a lot of muscle already on their frame. A lot of general public cannot fucking do 10,000 calorie challenges in a fucking cut, because what will happen is they'll just end up being fat. Gaining fat.
And it's a challenge too, right? It's not they're not doing that regularly. It's not something they're not doing that to help them move towards their goals. So if you do that, it's taking you away from your goal. They're doing that because it's vogue, it's popular right now, it's going to get views. It's its own thing. They're doing it for the sake of the challenge. And it might be fun to eat all that crap in a day and something and see if they can do it. Because sometimes when you're bulking, we're going to discover it's hard to diet down and cut your food because you're always hungry. But the opposite's true too. This comes a point when you're bulking that you're just like, oh, I can't eat enough. I can't keep up. I don't feel like eating. I have another meal to go, and that will come up. But that's not going to help you.
No, bro, and I think it's fascinating because, yeah, you can do like some serious damage with 10,000. Like,
I can do. Yeah, people don't realize how, like, losing fat. You can is not as slow as building muscle. Building muscle is a very as a max rate. You can lose fat relatively fast, but it still takes a lot of time and it still takes a lot of effort. And you can literally blow 3 weeks of work in a single day. I know I can. I can easily put away those calories. A few pints of ice cream, a couple dozen donuts. It is real easy to just crush 3+ months of work. Months of work can be thrown away in a really bad day. That's not to say that like any kind of cheat day, like a normal cheat day is pretty manageable. Your body's is not gonna get fat overnight. But if you really go for it, you can do some damage.
I think that's the reason why most like diets don't stick. Like they get you results, and then these people are so deprived. The cravings are so high, they end up just fucking up in one day, and because it's doable. Like I know this equation is pretty like not even like people like Eric Helms wrote it in his book, and a lot of guys like give that 3,500 calories equal 1 pound of fat number.
Yep.
You heard that before? Yeah. And there's a lot of like
that's what it does mathematically and chemically. Continue.
Like there's a lot of contingencies on that, but at the end of the day, like when I am trying to like cut fat for some of my clients, the goal is to create that 3,500 calorie deficit throughout the week in 7 days, right? So you're cutting down calories like every day. If someone's maintenance is 2,500 and I reverse that, I dieted them down to 2,000. Now we're cutting down 500 each day. So we've already got 3,500 calorie difference at the end of the week. And a lot of times we don't even do 500 less. We do like 200. We would add in cardio. We would add in other sources where we add up to that 500 number. But the reason I'm saying that is because, like you work so hard. Like I'm on treadmill. I mean, I'm on the Stairmaster because that's my cardio machine of choice. Stairmaster for 15 minutes, and dude, I'm like, fuck, right? Like you're like, this is tiring, right? But at the same time, you finish. I only do 15 minutes, and I just push stop at 15, and it says you burn 126 calories, and that is literally, I shit you not, that is literally a one medium-looking spoon of peanut butter.
Not even. I think the peanut butter is even more than that. It's like an apple. It's nothing. It's nothing.
And like, so if you're not careful, you end up just fucking up the whole time. You end up just like gaining 2 steps and going back 2 steps. So I hope that for a lot of you, that 3,500 number, I have a feeling that it was for the first time you heard it.
Yeah, it's an important number to know. And that's exactly the reason that the 500 calorie deficit is so common. It's for that exact reason. 500 times 7.
No, and like, yeah, dude. So back to our guy Adam, who's a skinny guy, and he's trying to look like Big Adam. So we're trying to get Adam big, and so Adam, just 3 steps for you, brother. Number 1, take like a diary, write down what you're currently eating. Are you only eating like your breakfast and then whatever comes for lunch and then whatever your mom cooks at night? If that's all you're eating, chances are you're going to stay small for that reason. So the next thing I'll do is like I'll add either a protein shake in there or I'll add an extra solid meal in there. And then just keep adding. So like keep an eye, like take progress pictures every week. Keep an eye on your body composition. Like hire Madison and I, and we'll fucking walk you through that shit like nobody else. But hire Madison. If you're a skinny guy trying to gain muscle, hire Madison. I'm the guy that'll get you abs. Madison, on the other hand, he's the guy for size for sure.
I will slap that mass on you,
dude. 100%. And
let's talk about training a bit. Sorry, where are you going?
No, I was just gonna say the last thing, which was like, you got to find out where you are, where you'd want to go, and we just got to fill the gap. When you fill the gap, dude, like, bro, Adam, Kevin, all my dudes listening right now, you'll get there. It'll just be like, and here's the thing, dude, the best part is girls don't find big guys attractive. Girls find guys who are just high status and are crushing it in life. And most of you, when you're skinny, you're not crushing it in life. Let's be honest. You're just not giving it your all because you just feel insecure in your own body. So let's get you in the gym. Let's have Madison do your program, get you bigger, stronger, and then when it's time to cut, send them my way. But for a lot of you guys, like if you feel insecure around your body composition, you don't feel big, you feel skinny, and you can see your ribs. I was that kid. As a kid growing up, I was very skinny. And not that I'm like really big right now, but I don't have like even a little bit of insecurity around me anymore because I'm constantly improving. Like if I look at my progress pictures from 2 months ago, I look so fucking different now. And like my body can transform while staying at the same body weight. Like, and that's the best part. That's what you guys want. And that's fucking attractive to the opposite sex. So back to you, Madison.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, we're really talking like again, the purpose of this podcast is really talking about putting on some serious muscle. But again, if you're a beginner or even intermediate, you can recomp and you can put on muscle and not really gain much weight. And as long as you're putting on muscle, that's a win. Arguably, it won't be optimal unless you're in a surplus. But every ounce of muscle is a win. So I want to spin back around to training now, because when you're training to build muscle, it's really important that we're focusing on the big movements, focusing on those compounds. We're doing heavy, but not crazy heavy, because you don't want to be doing like triples and doubles. You want to be minimum 4 reps, but a lot of 6s, 8s, up to 10, and even more sometimes. But we want to be able to definitely be pushing the progressive resistance and just progressive overload in all facets. We want to be increasing our volume, increasing our weight, increasing our intensity. And that's important in training. And when we're in a building phase, it's also important if you're not training every day. So I don't want to, if you're trying to put on muscle and you're like, I'm not growing, but you're in the gym 7 days a week, you're not going to be growing. So you need to back off a little bit from that. I generally recommend like between 4 and 5 days a week when you're trying to put on muscle, and allowing yourself 2 full days of rest to just recover and let the muscles repair and build. You should be eating during those days too. So don't stop eating just because you're not training. You might be a little less hungry, but you still got to eat. You still got to get the protein in. Still got to get adequate calories. But focus on the basics when you're growing. And just making sure you're hitting an adequate overload. And now go back to episode 2 and talk about all those pathways. And if you hit each one of those pathways real nice and hard on a day for each muscle group during that week, you're going to be putting on a lot of size in the next couple of months.
If you're a complete beginner who doesn't know what intensity feels like in the gym, watch just YouTube Tom Platz workouts. Just watch one video of Tom Platz fucking training, and
Tom Platz and Dorian Yates are the best examples.
Tom Platz, Dorian Yates, all those guys will fucking take you to church, and you will realize what it's like to be to train intensely. And because right now most of you probably go to gyms like Planet Fitness and a lot of the everyday gyms, and you don't see a lot of intensity. You see just a lot of everyday people trying to go through the motions.
Yeah, and that intensity is really important. It's one of the driving factors is the effort given during the work. And in general, I'll recommend for this podcast, this can vary when I actually write programs for people and see how things work. But in general, I'm going to recommend just like one really hard set for each exercise that you're doing. So like if you have 3 sets programmed or 4 sets programmed, first 2, 3, you're going to do them. You're going to give effort, but you're not going to just take them there. And by that, I mean, you're on that last set, you're going to really see how much can I do. And you're going to push that set to the point where you give it everything you've got. And you're really going to be really focused for that set. You can give a large effort. And the effort is what's really going to matter. So whether you're going for a number of reps or just quality contraction, you're just going to push that set. You're going to do those 5 extra reps that you might not have thought that you would have. So you're just picking yourself to that level on that last set. And you do that, for several months, and you make sure you're eating well and this is important. This is one of the most overlooked things when you're bulking. Fucking sleep. Get the hell to sleep. Get at least 8 hours a night. More is better. Get 9 hours if you can, and if you can take naps during the day, do that as well. I understand that's not accessible to everybody, but make sure at minimum you are getting a full night of deep sleep. And to do that, it's also it helps to help unwind yourself at night, do some stretching, do some things that are going to switch you over to the parasympathetic nervous system, your rest and recover part of your nervous system, and turn off your sympathetic, which is your go, go, go mode. Because a lot of people have trouble sleeping because they're stuck in that go, go, go. So get the fuck off your phone, stop looking at screens, get off the TV, make some nice calming nighttime tea, take a fucking hot bath and stretch, and go to fucking sleep.
Fucking
and
love
rest, grow.
Sleep is the most underrated subject right here. A lot of you hustlers, a lot of you entrepreneurs, business owners, you already know how important sleep is because you can only run on Starbucks so much. Let's be honest. You need sleep. And guys, that's why and this is what I think Madison and I might disagree on a few things, but there's one thing we really agree on, and that is training intensity. I genuinely feel like when people come to me, they're like, this is too much. Like, what should I start with? Like, if they're confused between training and good diet, I'll be like, train hard first. Like here's my workout program. Like, I'll start off like my clients with like a training program that is challenging. And dude, for some reason, when you fucking train hard and you give it, like you go to church in the gym, what happens is your body automatically does the math and realizes that eating donuts and shit won't last another day. Like, I've had workouts, I don't know what it is, I haven't been able to really like put science on it, but I've had workouts where I was craving a steak or chicken, or broccoli. Like, I've had workouts where I was craving it. Like, I don't want anything else. Just give me those things. Like, give me some chicken. Give me some good protein. And that doesn't come from
craving steak. Oh yeah.
Right? Like, that doesn't come from motivation or any of that shit. That's internal. Your body needs it because you just put her through some real hard workout. And
why is your body always a female, Mo?
Get her done. But you put your body through that. So now, training and that goes with that sleep point too. If your training is hard enough, you won't have the sleep problem. You will lay in bed and you'll fucking go deep sleep. Like, I don't know. I personally have never struggled with sleep after I started lifting. Like, I go to bed and I deep sleep. I go to bed. And it's the best sleep. It's deep and it's good. And I know when I'm slacking or when I'm not getting enough sleep, I can just feel it. So I take naps to compensate for that. But yeah, sleep is important. It's important. A lot of you think it's too important, so then you miss out on all social stuff. But there's a balance. There's a nice balance. I try to maintain that.
Yeah. Laying on your couch isn't rest. Sleeping at night is rest. So laying on your couch isn't really going to help you. Your blood's not going to move around. It's hard for the muscles to feed. And I'm not saying not to do that at all. It's important to kick your feet back and chill the fuck out. But don't think that you're just growing on that couch. You're growing when you're sleeping. When I'm training hard, if I don't get 9 hours of sleep, I'm fucking exhausted. And if I'm not training hard, if I get 7, I'm like, okay. But when I'm training hard, I need that sleep, and I just stop functioning so quickly if I'm not getting adequate sleep. So it's most important to remember that you grow when you sleep. So if you're not sleeping, you're not growing, and you only grow in deep sleep. So it has to be quality deep sleep.
I love that. So let's we're already over 40 minutes, so let's conclude this. And I want this podcast to be very focused for a lot of the skinny guys trying to gain muscle. So give me like 3 points of things for them to focus on.
Train hard, eat more, go the fuck to sleep. So in a nutshell, that's really what you got to do. Make sure you're training hard. Don't be training every day, but train really hard, 4 to 5 days, depending on what kind of split you like and what you're going to bring up. Make sure you're eating quality protein throughout the day. No vegan shit. Eat some fucking meat, some fucking red meat. Eat some fucking steaks throughout the day. Keep spreading that shit out. You should be eating not too frequently, but just regularly. So don't leave too large gaps between them. And eat enough. If you're not gaining weight, eat more. I guess you can eat more. If you have to make some shakes to get it down, do that. But just slowly push up how much food you're eating. Eat denser things. Eat the red meat instead of the chicken. Eat the thighs instead of the breast. eat whole eggs, right? Put that shit down, and then at night, make sure if you're not already relaxed before bed, always give yourself, if you can, give an hour before you go to bed to chill the fuck out, get off your screens, get off your electronics, get away from the blue lights, get yourself in a calm environment, and let yourself get into it. Be able to go, when you go to bed, get into a deep sleep.
Exactly. One of the things I love doing is I have this habit of drinking either green tea, not green tea now anymore, but it's like chamomile. I drink some kind of tea, and it's just, I just read a book. And usually while reading that book, I fall asleep. And
that's a good bet.
Like, you need that nightly routine as well as the morning routine. Yeah.
I'm a really big fan of stretching before bed, because also when you're training really hard and you just start getting really tight, sometimes that can fuck with your sleep too, because you're just like your muscles just like wound up. So just pull some of that tension out, and you're gonna be like, I feel so relaxed now. Like if I hop on a roller sometimes before bed and like get a really deep release, and after that it's just like pass the hell out. After you have like, if anyone's ever had a muscle knot and relieved it on a roller or anything like that, man, you feel like sleeping after that.
Dude, I love that. All right, guys. Don't forget to leave us feedback on iTunes, Stitcher. Actually, most of you listening to us on our iTunes. So if you're on iTunes, leave us a review, leave the 5-star ratings, and on YouTube, do the same thing. All of these episodes we don't push any ads. It's all for free. We go out of our ways to record these. We really love sharing our wisdom. We're both fitness coaches. We both love doing this shit. We're both engineers. So we do this podcast for you guys because I don't think there's another podcast like this one. Like,
we really appreciate your support, guys. Every share you give, every view, every comment, all your subscriptions. And if you're not already subscribed, make sure you subscribe. If you're on YouTube, hit subscribe, hit the bell button, make sure you get the notifications when we launch a new episode every week on Wednesday. If you're listening to the audio, make sure you leave us a review. Let us know how you like it, what you want to hear in future episodes. Make sure we hear from you. And share us with your damn friends, people. Spread the love of Engineered Muscle so that your friends can reach that level too. I know it's tempting to keep all this information to yourself so you can get ahead, because I know how competitive some of you are. But it's okay. You can share it, because you guys will bring each other up, and you'll get some good training partners in the process.
And when you share with other people, what happens is then this lifestyle is not as hard anymore because your closest friends are doing it. And when when your circle doing it, then it's so much easier, guys. So much fucking easier, because then like there's no peer pressure. Like you're all on the same page and you all get it. So share the love. Like my Instagram handle is Daddy of Fat Loss. So DADDYOF Fat Loss. Madison is Mastodon_strong. Send us DMs. I respond to every single DM. I respond to every single comment. You can look me up, Mo Gaius or Daddy of Fat Loss. You can find me either way. And I look forward to hearing more from you guys. And till next time, peace.
If you haven't watched our last episode here, watch another popular episode right over here. See you guys next time.